to Moony Makes. My name is Callie, and today we are going to be making double chocolate chip espresso cookies. So these cookies are perfect for coffee and chocolate lovers alike. They're ultra chocolatey, they're so delicious, and you are going to love them. So let's get right into it. But before we begin, as always, please remember to subscribe, like, share, chat in the comment section, and follow me on social media for more recipes and additional content. So let's get right into it. These are the ingredients that we are going to be using. I have some brown sugar, granulated sugar, 1 egg, melted butter, vanilla, salt, and some dark chocolate chips. So what I like doing, that I highly recommend you doing as well, is buy a bar of dark chocolate, roughly chop it up, and what you get are some larger pieces like so than what you get from just chocolate chips. However, you could absolutely use chocolate chips if that is what you have. And here I have some baking powder, baking soda, flour, cocoa powder, and I have some instant coffee or espresso powder, whichever one will do, whichever you like. And that is all. So let's get right into it. Get your oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And here we go. So first things first, we're gonna combine all of our dry ingredients. So that includes our flour, our baking powder, baking soda, our instant coffee, and our salt. I don't know if I said cocoa powder, but also, of course, some cocoa powder. And I'm just gonna give this a quick whisk to incorporate the ingredients. Okay, this looks great. So next up, I'm gonna set this aside, and we're gonna grab both types of sugar. Into this, I'm gonna throw in my melted butter and just give it a stir until it's all nice and creamy and incorporated. So if you like this recipe, by the way, I do have an espresso chocolate chip cookie recipe as well. That's pretty similar to this, except it's not double chocolate. So if you like this recipe, you are certainly gonna love that one as well. Okay, this looks wonderful. So next up, I'm gonna throw in my egg. And I don't know if you know this, but adding melted butter instead of butter softened to room temperature actually lends to a chewier texture to cookies, which I love. So that's why I do that. And you don't have to worry about remembering to bring your butter to room temperature, which I am not the greatest at. Okay, this looks wonderful. So next, I'm gonna throw in my vanilla along with all of my dry ingredients. And then I'm just gonna give this a mix, and then we'll add our chocolate. Okay, this looks wonderful. So next up, I'm gonna throw in my chocolate chips, but what I'm gonna do is reserve some of them to dollop over the top of the cookie dough before we pop it in the oven. I'll show you when we get there. And again, optional, recommended. But I'm just going to stir all this chocolate in. I'm gonna clean up, grab my baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and then we're gonna bake these up. Okay, so we are back. I have my baking sheet lined with parchment paper, and we are ready to go. So I'm just gonna take some dollops of the cookie dough, apply it to the parchment paper. I'm using an ice cream scoop. You don't have to, you can do this by hand, of course. And at this point, I'm just gonna add some of that extra chocolate that we reserved and just dot it over the top. Again, optional, recommended. So I'm gonna keep adding the cookie dough to the parchment paper, and then I'm gonna pop this into my 350 degree Fahrenheit preheated oven for about 9 or 10 minutes. The key to the perfect cookie is to underbake the cookies. And the reason for that is because once you take the cookies out of the oven, they're going to continue to kind of set and firm up as they sit. And doing this is really gonna give you a super chewy cookie that's like slightly molten in some parts, and it's absolutely amazing. So 9 or 10 minutes is all that it needs in the oven. Let it cool. And then I'm gonna give you a close-up of just how absolutely amazing these cookies really are. Okay, so 9 minutes later, and this is what you get. You get these perfect cookies that are chewy, they're chocolatey, and they're absolutely amazing, and you are gonna love them. So, as always, for the full written recipe and instructions, head to my blog, moonymakesrecipes.com. I'll put the link for that in the description box below. Click on the link, the recipe will come right up, and make these cookies. I promise you're gonna love them, and let me know what you think, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much, I'll see you next time. Bye!